Now at 27, a guy that Kenny Payne of the Knicks is familiar with. You guys have the Knicks taking Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky. What do you like about Maxey's game?
Yeah, Maxey's a guy, I mean, he's somewhat polarizing this year, just because, some people have had him as high as a top 10 pick. We've been a little lower on him. The way I see it is, he's a 6'2" shooting guard. I question how much point guard he can play. And so that's why, we've been a little bit lower on him than some of the other media and fans and whatnot. But hey, at 27, this would be a nice guy to bring on this team. He's somewhat of a culture builder, just a winner type kid, great defender, just crafty player offensively. Another guy is outside shooting is a little suspect. He's got a very low release, and if I remember correctly, only shot like 28% from three. So again, I mean, the conversation we had just a second ago. Another guy that needs to improve his outside shooting, but at 27, same story. They need talent, and I think he'd be a good value pick at that spot.
Do you think his game as a playmaker can come around? Do you think his role is mainly a scorer, maybe an off the bench 6-man role?
Yeah, I see him more as a complimentary guy. I think you play him at the one a little bit. I just don't see him being a floor general type lead guard. He definitely could defend point guards, but as far as the guy that control the tempo and get the ball where it needs to go, I like him off the ball better than as a true point guard.
I would not mind Maxey coming into the Garden, man, because I feel like he's got a moxie to him that even though the 3-point numbers aren't what you would like for statistically, I think he's a guy that looks like he can raise his game as the spotlight intensifies.
Yeah, no, he's a gamer. And last year's opening night at the Madison Square Garden, I was there, and I saw him hit the big shot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big game player. There's no doubt about it. And so I think you're right. I think he can handle the bright lights of New York.
I think ultimately he's going to go in the middle of the first round. And the reason I didn't bring him up as a point guard is because I don't think he is one. Do I think he can play some spot minutes at the one? Yes, but I do not want to label him a point guard. I think he's an undersized 2. He's electric, just a gamer. Like, he's an absolute baller. He figures it out. He's a competitor. He's a guy I want on my team, active on defense, gets downhill, finishing at the rim. The shooting is a question mark. Didn't shoot a great percentage. The balance, the footwork, the landing, his lower body it's a little funky. But Maxey is a guy that I think he can be a really good offensive player in the NBA, a good defensive player as well.
That's what kind of sucks about the NCAA tournament getting canceled is that's what he was billed to be. It seemed like every single big game from then, he was always the guy to take over. People, Kentucky fans kind of thought he had that Aaron Harrison level of just that clutch gene, and we were like, man, this could be the guy that could kind of take his game to the next level when March came around, and unfortunately we never got to see that. So you guys are big Knicks guys, and to play on a stage like Madison Square Garden and the spotlight like New York, I mean he is made for that spotlight. I honestly, it's something that the Kentucky coaching staff was kind of confused about the whole year, because he was billed as a big time shooter. He shot really well. When I watched him at like McDonald's All-American practices and Jordan Brand, I never saw him miss more than 2 3-pointers in a row. He was one of those guys that just always knew how to correct himself mid-game. He just kind of had that that shooter's touch. And when he got to Kentucky, for whatever reason, and I mean, a lot of it was open looks too. It wasn't even, I think there was a little bit that he kind of got carried away at times, and kind of had the Trae Young thing going, where he'd get a little sloppy with his shot selection at times, with shooting 5-6 feet behind the 3-point line. But for the most part, I think a lot of it was just trying to find his groove, and he just never found that consistency. But long term, I don't see that being an issue at all. Ashton Hagans missed that final game, and Tyrese was Calipari said, "This is your time. Now is when you're going to take over the lead point guard spot," and he thrived. He was playing really well. obviously an adjustment. You can't play all season long off ball, and then final game of the year they say, okay, now you're going to run. You're going to run the show.
Yeah.
So there was obviously a little bit of an adjustment period. But Coach Cal raved about him after the game. Said, man, for us to kind of throw him in, he's done it in the past, but to kind of throw him in after playing the role that he had all year long, and to still lead the team. They fell down 18 points, had to claw back, and ultimately won in a game-winning shot.
Like, the guy we haven't talked about at all that I totally think might be on the radar now is Maxey. Kenny Payne raved about him before he ever got the Knicks job. But like, I do think that like Maxey, if you're just talking about the profile of guard, like I do like the idea of that type of combo guard next to RJ, not at one. Like, I would still use Maxey as a 2 and play and get a point.
Like he's shooting, like most guys, you're shooting here, right? He's shooting here. He's like blocking his eyesight. So if you raise it up a little bit, and then instead of shooting out, he's shooting up, like him hitting 40% from 3 might not happen. Him hitting 38%, I think Maxey's shot comes around like maybe not year 1, but I think it's going to be, he's going to be a good shooter.